Hello and welcome to Team PokeMart, your one-stop shop for things that you need to stop and or shop for. And here's something fun that I learned today. Apparently the definition of the word cave is a dank void, large enough for a human to enter but unpleasant enough for them to not want to stay very long. And as it turns out, your local Team PokeMart fulfills this criteria and can thus scientifically be classified as a cave. The discovery of which has led to a colony of Zubat deciding to make this their new home. Hooray. So today we're going a bit batty, as you can see in store, and depending on your individual views regarding bats, you could either see this as being bat-tastic or a complete and utter batastrophe. Either way, I have a problem, and I'm going to solve it the only way I know how, by selling it to you, the valued customer. I mean, I've been a retail specialist for well over a decade now, and I certainly did not make it to the prestigious position of local manager by not being able to sell a measly colony of Zubat. Also, like most normal bats, Zubat like to live fairly quietly within a cave, hanging upside down on stalactite-mite things when they rest. However, because we do not have those handy here at Team PokeMart, they are currently hanging on to the subscribe button, which in a grand twist is giving the Zubat the benefit of regular Team PokeMart content uploaded straight into their YouTube feeds. So don't be outdone by a mere bat, make sure to press that button and then we can start selling you my latest in a long line of life problems. So Zubat is the bat Pokemon, being a dual poison flying type. It is very small and light, which is ironic given its love of being in the dark. However, it weighs less than 20 pounds or 7.5 kilos to be exact, and is around 2 feet or 0.8 meters tall, which still makes it significantly, very significantly larger and more terrifying than regular bats. Because seriously, if this thing existed in the real world, then it would immediately be dubbed as a hyperbat and given its own reality TV show. Its body is blue, though its ear and wing interiors are purple, which make for some nice analogous color choices by Mr. Zubat there. It also has a large mouth with fangs that take up most of its face, and it has no eyes, which is creepy and concerning because it makes it much harder to judge the almost certainly evil intentions of the Zubat. Interestingly, it's likely that the English name for Zubat is actually based on a pun from Japanese. Zu, as seen in combination with bat, is referencing Zubato, a Japanese onomatopoeia for when an edge tool pierces something with great force, which in this case is probably referring to Zubat's tough fangs, which are primed and ready to Zubato each and every one of you. Now, to many trainers' dismay, copious amounts of Zubat do live in caves, often startling and battling them as they attempt to make their way through. I'd say roughly every 3 steps or so. Although really it's their own fault for deciding to travel everywhere via cave and not purchasing anywhere near enough overpriced repels from your local Team PokeMart. Zubat also have a bit of a tendency to mimic vampires and are generally not seen during the daytime, choosing to avoid sunlight at all costs. This is because daylight can burn Zubat's skin if it receives too much exposure to the sun, as well as causing other health problems. Very similar to humans really, so don't forget to slip slop slap. With that said, trained Zubat are an entirely different story for reasons. Apparently, under the command of a trainer, Zubat are all of a sudden able to bear copious amounts of sunlight and are even allowed to enjoy a nice relaxing day at the beach. Oh, how lovely. And speaking of training, if you're diligent and wield your battle bat frequently, eventually it will reach the arbitrary level of 22, at which point it will experience the miracle of evolution and transform into a Golbat. Me and my big mouth. Wow, I have a large mouth. It's so big. Is what I would expect a Golbat to be thinking at all points during its lifetime, because Golbat is now significantly more mouth than it is bat, and it is quite proud of this fact, as you can tell from its sneaky, sly, and newly developed eyes. But once Zubat evolves, it more than doubles in height and well gains about 100 pounds, thus transforming from a hyperbat into a fully fledged gigabat, because guess what? According to the official stats, Golbat is now almost as tall as a Charizard. There is a really disturbingly small difference between the two. Its body keeps its lovely shades of blues and purples, however its once tail-like protrusions coming out of its backside are now more full and prominent, representing short legs with long feet. And just for clarification, usually you'd want that to be the other way around, longer legs with shorter feet, kind of like how we humans do it. Not that Golbat cares, because it could, quite literally, fit most average humans within its ridiculous mouth body. Furthermore, its signature fangs have gone from 2 to 4, and that is a 100% increase in both quantity as well as fear generated by the unfortunate target of these bat fangs. Unlike Zubat though, there is no onomatopoeia here at play in regards to Golbat's name, and weirdly enough, it likely originates from the English word gollop, which is to greedily eat or drink quickly, and then bat, gollop, Golbat. Yeah, something like that. Golbat are also more merciless than their pre-evolution, specifically when they feed on their prey. Their fangs have hollow tubes and are specifically designed for sucking blood as well as energy, and their jaw is strong enough to pierce even the thickest of the skins. And as per usual, I know exactly what you're thinking, valued customer. Oh, but that's fine. At least it's not going to come and drink my blood because I am the fancy customer and nothing is higher than me on the social hierarchy. I, the customer, am effectively God, and you, pitiful salesman, were made for the sole reason of serving me. Well, you're wrong in ever so many ways, but as for this one specifically, Golbat can suck the blood of both Pokemon and humans, meaning that catching one should be done with extreme caution. So much caution that you should probably, just skip that step and purchase one from us here at Team PokeMart. Now, much like myself at a buffet, Golbat are also very gluttonous creatures and are often seen feeding so extensively that they can become unable to fly. However, as for reference to show how much blood that is, they're capable of drinking over 10 ounces or 300 milliliters in a singular sitting or feeding, whichever terminology you prefer. And given their enormous bodies, that isn't actually all that much. In fact, most standardized soft drinks come in sizes of 330 milliliters, all of which are, of course, available for purchase here. But if you were a Golbat, then you would be incapable of finishing one. And also, just as a crazy quirk of Poke nature, feeding on blood also changes the blood type of the Golbat in question, which I suppose means that each feeding session is effectively a 100% blood transfusion. Now, if you wish to evolve your Golbat, then it's a bit more complicated, and the only way to push your vampiric buddy into the future is by giving them enough love as well as perhaps a little bit of your own blood, laced with friendship, of course, because this will raise their friendship, which will eventually cause them to evolve into a Crobat. And good lord, what is happening here? Crobat has taken this evolution line down a very different path, so much so that it really does look like it should be a member of another line entirely. Crobat loses its one signature blue body in favor of a primarily purple one with some more aqua tinged wings. It's also lost its trademark smug mouth and now comes equipped with a permanently grumpy disposition, generally showing its teeth and scowling yellow eyes just to let you know that it is not happy. And why isn't Crobat happy? Well, it's because it's a Crobat. I mean, can you imagine giving up the Chad lifestyle of a Golbat just to become whatever this is? And whilst Crobat's form is significantly bigger, now taller than a Charizard actually, but proportionally Crobat has lost quite a bit as opposed to Golbat. Its mouth is now smaller, its wings are now smaller, and whatever Golbat had that passed for feet have now become stubby little Crobat growths, which rather tragically, yet hilariously, very much force Crobat to literally crawl along the ground whenever not engaged in flight. Crobat's name is likely a combination of the words cross and bat, although some have noted that this could very well be a purposeful corruption of the word acrobat, pointing towards Crobat's graceful aerial ability, which would be very fitting indeed since it does learn the move acrobatics. Graceful and deadly, like my stage name in university, Crobat are adept flyers and disturbingly swift attackers. They're capable of flying long distances due to using 2 sets of wings through alteration, which I suppose does make up for its lack of usable feet. These sets of wings also allow for a Crobat to fly harder, better, faster, stronger, while staying silent, ever so silent. In fact, they're able to bite down on their unsuspecting victim without drawing any notice, draining the blood from them with the utmost of stealth. As such, you'll be hard-pressed to find one of these amazing Pokemon in the wild, value customers, although if you do, then chances are it will be the last thing that you will ever see. Now, there have been a few prominent sightings of the Zubat line being used throughout the world of Pokemon, and the first of which would be in the hands of Mr. Brock. In the first season of the anime, Brock ends up catching a Zubat at Mount Moon, rather conveniently off-screen, which is great, just great, because we have this entire series where the hook is catching magical monsters and a shocking amount of them are just caught off-screen. But Brock's Zubat would become a trusty partner and even evolve into a Golbat in the episode Hassle in the Castle. Hassle in the Castle. Hassle in the Castle. That is so much more difficult for an Australian to say than you may think. But Brock's Golbat would not stop there, and through mild encouragement, the friendship requirement would be fulfilled, eventually transforming it into a Crobat. A Crobat which, along with Onix and Geodude, would end up being lent to Forest, Brock's younger brother, who took up the role of Pewter City gym leader. Another prime figure of examination though would be Koga, who has been seen with a Golbat and a Crobat in-game, in anime, and in manga on several occasions. Although this line would be far from his signature Pokemon, because as we all know, Koga has an unhealthy obsession with moths. Some more fun facts about the Zubat line. While all 3 forms are bats, Golbat has been noted as potentially grabbing its name from the real-life bat known as the golden capped fruit bat. And while I find this idea fairly boring, I do have to admit that the bat itself is pretty adorable. And speaking of, bats really do get a bad rap in reality, despite the fact that they really are just puppies with wings. Sky dogs, if if you will. The Zubat line is unique in that it is the only line to carry the poison flying type combination as of this recording. That isn't to say that there aren't any other Pokemon capable of poison and the art of flight, as can be seen in Venomoth, although it is a filthy bug. And finally, a truly useless fact: if you're still not convinced that the Zubat line was heavily influenced from vampires, then I would point you towards the French names of Zubat, Golbat, and Crobat, which all contain a variation of Nosferatu, which are Nosferapti, Nosferalto, and Nostenfer, respectively. And that kind of does it for everything I just said about the bats. I really do hope that you enjoy your new bat buddy now that you know how to take care of it, and just a casual reminder that you do totally need to buy it from us and not find one in any of the other caves in the surrounding area. And hopefully one day we'll have the finances to hire enough staff to change Team PokeMart's scientific classification into that of a not cave. But please do make sure to stop by Team PokeMart and say hi, which you can do in the comments below. And if you're interested in some of our other merchandise, then please do click these tantalizing links over here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for regular updates on our new stock. But for now, this has been Team PokeMart, and we'll see you next time.